Good morning, everyone. This is your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, Corinne Lafont, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And I always start my show off being thankful or grateful, as some may say. I am so thankful to be here to see another day. It's the first thing that comes to my mind, that I say in my mind, and I say outwardly, orally, my mouth. I say it out to the universe. I'm so thankful. Thank you. And I take deep breaths in the morning, look out into the sky and just see how much beauty is out there. I'm so thankful. Yeah, that makes you just want to breathe, yeah? Relax. Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome to be here. It don't matter what you're facing, there is life. Once there's life, there is hope. And once there is hope, you can make it. Just keep going through. The main thing is never to stop. Never stop. No matter what you're doing, never stop. I guess that's why they say go through or going through. They never say go stop. They say go through. That phrase, I always come back to that phrase. You go through. You don't go stop. You go through. So I have with me today Nicole Stanfield, is it? Let's make sure that I don't mispronounce her name. Stanfield, beautiful girl. And we're talking today about becoming a confident decision maker. Now, let me tell you a bit about Nicole. Since 2014, Nicole is spelled with Nikole, not Nicole. Nicole has owned her own business and worked to improve herself through personal development, which we all should do. After experiencing burnout last summer, she now helps successful business and owners and entrepreneurs who feel unfulfilled and struggle to get out of bed in the morning to work through burnout so that they can love what they do. And you can learn more about her at myintuitioncoach.com. And of course, you know how we do it here on Between the Lines. I normally show the website and, go to different, she gives us a little quick tour of her website at the end of the show. And any freebies she's giving away or anything she wants us to, get involved in and get to know her a bit better. So let me just come back and remind myself, become a confident decision maker. And let me firstly welcome officially Nicole to Between the Lines. So welcome, Nicole, to Between the Lines.
Thank you, Corinne.
Yes, it's a pleasure having you. Now, let me tell you why I selected that topic. I know you suggested some topics when you requested to be on my show. And that's just a guide for me. Sometimes I take the topics that guests suggest. Sometimes I don't. I go on their website, check them out, kind of stalk them. And yeah, the kind of stalking approach, but in a good way. And I don't know if there's good stalking, but I do good stalking, okay? So, and when I saw become a good decision maker, everybody, including myself, we all struggle with making decisions. Is this the right one? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then you have that monkey chatter that goes on in your mind. And then you start wondering, doubting yourself. Then you say, you know what, I'm going to talk to somebody about this who maybe know better. And most of the times the other people don't, but you go to them anyway. And so, and you come back more confused and tortured than you ever were. And then you go through anxiety, as I said, the torture, the turmoil inside, the headaches, the stress, the neck pain, and when you say become a confident decision maker, I like that. Is it an adjective there? Confident decision maker. Because normally it's really become a better decision maker. But when you say confident decision maker, it says to me, you're sure about yourself. You don't need to really ask around anything. You make a decision, you're very decisive as opposed to being indecisive. And you push forward. And you're the type of person, and this goes towards anyone, you're the type of person that When you make that decision, you know you have made it. You're confident that you have made it. You know you have made that decision and you're prepared for whatever comes. Good or bad or indifferent doesn't matter, because you're not going to be blaming anybody for the decision. You're not going to be pointing fingers. You know it's all you. So you're ready to face whatever comes. So I want you to be able to help the listeners be able to become confident decision makers. We're still early in the year. It's what, March? Well, we're almost finished March, the first quarter, believe it or not. And so we cannot be wasting time. So we better build our confidence in decision making. Don't waste time, people. Okay, it's quarter of the year done. Today is what? Today is what date is it today? The 18th.
Yeah.
Okay, we're past the halfway mark in the month. So by the time you blink and by the end of the show, we're at the end of March. So we can't be wasting time. So Nicole, I want you to be able to help the listeners, help me, and probably even help yourself in the process. You know, sometimes when you're talking, you teach yourself a lot of things. You hear yourself talk. How to become more confident in our decision making, that we trust. We trust, I think it comes back to that. We trust ourselves enough. It comes back to that. Yes, that just came to me. We trust ourselves enough that we don't have to rely on anyone or anything, but we trust ourselves. So start at that point. How do we begin trusting ourselves enough to know that whatever decisions we make, we are confident in it and we are pushing forward?
That's a really great question. So when I started intuition coaching, my goal was to help people learn how to listen to themselves. And one of those areas that we don't listen to ourselves in very often is decision making. And quite frequently, we put ourselves in a position where we choose to say, I need to make this big decision. And I'm not talking about like, should you start a new radio show or should you start another product line or something like that. I'm talking about decisions that may be big in your life, about relationships or about moving or about your job and some of those things. And there's a point where logic can't help you make that decision, and you won't know what the outcome of that decision is until you do it, and you have to step into it. And I used to spend hours just agonizing over what's the right decision, and I would maybe take a little step forward and then I'd take 3 steps back, and I couldn't make the choice. And it was like there really wasn't a right or wrong answer, and I kept trying to look for what was the right answer, what was the right solution. And I was listening too much to my head, and I wasn't really giving my heart a chance to say, this is what feels good to me. And I definitely wasn't listening to what my intuition told me and where my heart was like, I want to do this, regardless of if it makes sense, if it seems like the logical choice, or whatever we're doing. So I have done personal development for a while now, but it took me a while to get the courage to become a coach. And it didn't really make sense. Why would I want to start my own coaching business when I had another business that I'd been doing for a while? Yet I chose to listen to my intuition and started my coaching and started talking to people about how to become a confident decision maker. So some of the common obstacles that I see when people especially when they're entrepreneurs, they have their own business, or they're in a leadership position, a lot of times they feel like they need to show up in a certain way. And one of the obstacles that I see is a lot of times that the trying to be perfect. I call it the perfect hammer, where you try and do something and you want it to look a certain way and you want it to be perfect before anybody sees it. So then sometimes you don't actually end up doing it because you're so worried about it being perfect. I've done that, been there. Yeah. And then sometimes when it isn't perfect or somebody says, oh, here's a flaw or whatever, you beat yourself up over it. And that's where like the hammer part comes in. And I've found that when I'm harshest on myself, when I'm the meanest to myself, when I have the worst self-talk, is when I wanted to be perfect and I wasn't, and then I start beating myself up, and it never serves me. It always brings my energy down. I don't feel good afterwards, and I don't want to be that person. I've realized that I don't have to be perfect, that it's not fun to be perfect, to be worrying about being perfect all the time and saying the right thing and doing the right thing, and all of that it's exhausting. So, and it's not listening to what I want. It's me trying to show a perfect image of myself to other people and what I think that looks like,
That's
instead of
awesome.
being
That's
authentic with who
yeah.
I am.
You're saying a number of things there. I mean, I'm trying to see if I can bundle it all up and remember. But you're talking about intuition, your heart versus your head. And we have been programmed to follow our head as opposed to your heart. Even though there are phrases that say follow your heart, follow your heart. But really, people say what's logical, what's practical. And logical and practical is really coming from the head. Logical and practical is not really a heart thing. You know, Heart is really fluttering, go with your emotions, your feelings. And we have been programmed not to go with the feelings, the fluttering, because it could guide you anywhere. It can take you anywhere, and that can land you in places that would not give you the kind of results that you should get. And really, who is determining that? The people on the outside. It's not really you. It's not really you. So you're really depending and trusting other people on the outside for to justify what you should really do. You're codependent on those persons to tell you what you should do in something that you should really make the decision. It's you. It's not them. You're mentioning being authentic. Um, but all of these things that you're saying, Nicole, are things that, as you rightfully said in the beginning about personal development, if you're not at a point to recognize authenticity, who you really are, you're going to be swayed by everything and everybody.
Yeah.
So it comes back to really that personal development. It might seem, when I think about it as I'm talking to you now, it's like, it makes me feel sort of like, oh my God, tired. I'm not tired like I'm upset tired, but it's like you're out of breath just thinking about what it takes to be authentic, what it takes to be confident in decision making, to get to a point of knowing who you are. Is tiring. It takes work. It takes letting go. It takes releasing, shedding, deleting. It takes undoing. It takes unbrainwashing. If there's a word like that, I just made it up. It takes all of that, because you realize all the things that you have been taught up to this point, no matter what age you are listening to this. It makes no sense. You start to question. And you're like, is this really me? Am I really living me, the me? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
It turns out that I didn't realize it at the time, but I needed to burn out in order to be okay with being authentic, my authentic self. It wasn't very much fun, obviously, but I was so scared of being who I was, or having a contrary opinion, or feeling different than someone else, or not fitting in, or not having it look a certain way. I spent a lot of my life needing things to look a certain way, and needing to know the specific how it was supposed to go, and in this specific order, right? And I was trying to find the right steps and the right keys and all these things. And I ended up burning out from trying to do the right thing, please all these people, do all this stuff. And I didn't really know who I was for a little while.
Why do
And
we
so,
have to reach the point of burnout, Nicole?
I'm
You're
sorry.
like why do we have to reach the point of burnout? You're like a hamster on the damn wheel.
Oh, I
I mean,
hope, I hope that's part of what I want to do, is that I want to help people not have to reach burnout in order to be authentic. That was my experience, and it wasn't very much fun.
no, it
Um,
isn't. And we know a lot of people are suffering from burnout. They're running like a hamster on the wheel. They're there trying to please everybody else except themselves. And the people who, like myself, who do the damn thing to please myself, we are looked at as deviant.
yeah,
You need to grow up. You
yep,
need to. They tell you all these things. Why you so? You know, why you can't do this, and that's not expected. And they want to tell you how you should be.
absolutely, absolutely. I When I'm working with people to help them identify and beat some of the things that show up from burnout, so they can be more authentic, so they can be a confident decision maker, all of that comes together. And basically, there's 3 parts to this love what you do formula, about creating simple habits and finding balance and then prioritizing yourself. And one of the things we talk about is that a lot of times people use the word should. They feel like it should look a certain way, and it should be this way, or you should do that, or you should do this in your business. And I have found that that's one of the biggest obstacles to being a confident decision maker, is using should, because then that's someone else putting what I need to be doing on top of me, and I'm listening to that. So
Mm,
I'm trying to follow someone else's guidelines instead of following my own.
okay, that's a great tip. What are the others? I'm eager to hear that. So I have to be careful in using should. Yeah.
When I find that I use should, I'm normally thinking about what someone else told me to do. So just pay attention as you're saying I should do this, as you're telling yourself I should do this. It's
Mm-hmm.
something as a heads up, like, hey, I need to pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
That, do I really want to do this, or do I feel like I have to, or I'm obligated to, or I need to do it for that person?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, so one of the other things that I find is that we give our energy to everybody else. And a lot of times our to-do list, we're very effective, we're very efficient, but our to-do list sucks up all of our energy, and we forget to put ourselves on our to-do list.
Huh.
We forget to make sure that there's something for ourselves. Go ahead.
One.
So that self-care is really important.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, Nicole. Somebody was just calling me, so I just muted myself so that it doesn't come through the recording. I'm sure you heard it a while ago. Continue. My apologies. Mm-hmm.
no problem. I was just saying that the self-care and putting yourself on your to-do list is a small way that you can identify that I have needs and I need to take care of myself, and that replenishing my own energy is just as important as giving to everybody else, and getting another task done at the expense of yourself is sometimes more detrimental. Uh, we expect a car to stop running when it runs out of gas, but we expect ourselves to keep going even
Yeah.
though we're low on gas.
Yeah. Well, first to begin, we don't think of ourselves as a vehicle that we put gas into. That we, right? We're humans, and we're supposed to keep going like an Energizer bunny.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we see ourselves. And I want to just be a little stickler here for that to-do list. What just came to me when you're speaking about the to-do list? Because I do the to-do list too, and I have a long list, everlasting list that I'm sure would bypass my debt. It will still be the to-do list. I want to be able to say what happened to doing a to-do list for me, me,
Mhm.
me to-do list, or the to-do me list, however you want to call it. I don't want to be added on to the regular to-do list. So it's like I'm one of the things to do, and which is why I get left out, because when I go through the to-do list for work, for all my activities, tasks, house chores, whatever, and I'm on that list, I am obviously going to look at that list and say, oh, I'll get to myself later. I'll get to myself later. And I obviously going to put priorities on the house, the job, the things I needed to do for Nicole, the whatever, whatever, whatever. But if I have a to-do me list, which is only me, me, go to the hairdresser, get your hair done, get the nails done, go to the spa, go have a drink, buy that dress. Just about me. That list is about me. It can be, and just start listing. I'm not going to tell anybody how many things. And you know, the surprising thing now that I'm talking about it, Nicole, is that you might find it difficult to write things to do for you.
Have I found it's hard to write things to do for
Yes,
myself?
no, but I'm saying not only you. I want you to answer the question. When it comes to you doing something for yourself, you may find it difficult to start writing even 3 things to do for yourself. But when it comes to other activities, you're able to rattle that thing off, ramble it on the list. Yeah. But when it comes to you, you just can't think of, you're struggling to write 3 things to do for yourself. Why?
Because we've built a habit of giving to everybody else, giving our energy away. We haven't built a habit that says it's important for me to fill myself up as well. And before I became a confident decision maker, before I became a coach, I really, really struggled with this. Before I was in personal development, I could barely spend like $50 on myself, or I couldn't take time to do anything. It doesn't always have to mean money, or like going and doing something like reading for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour, or taking a nap or taking a bath. Those are some things that give me energy. But I didn't even have an awareness of what I should do in order to give myself energy. I knew what I should do for my business and the marketing and the tasks and getting clients and the networking. And I knew what I needed to do in my house to keep it clean. But I never thought about, what do I need to do for myself? And so then there'd be times when my husband was very good at doing things for himself, and I would be
Isn't
jealous.
that amazing? Isn't that amazing, Nicole? How is it? How is it? And here we're getting into the touchy subject. How is it that the men, Nicole, are able to do all the things for themselves? And we are running ourselves into the damn ground. And they still want us to look good. But yet, yet we are like the damn Energizer bunny, running behind them, running behind the kids, running behind the house, running behind the money, running behind the business or whoever else. And we still could give to them. It's like we are just a what? I'm trying to think what it is that just keeps making more of itself the more it gives. What is there in the world that the more you pour out is the more, isn't it? We women are just built like that the more we give is the more we have. And these men just see it and they're like cool with it, or we are cool with it. What the hell?
I think it's that we're okay with it. One of the things I've had to work through is that I felt like if I wasn't helpful or useful, I was not okay to receive love. I wasn't, it wasn't like not necessarily a good thing, but I wasn't worthy of it, right?
Yes.
And now I've shifted that I'm worthy to receive love just because I am who I am, just for being me, not because I did the dishes or because I did laundry or because I made the bed or because I did the adulting projects. I'm worthy of love just because of who I am.
Yes, your value is not attached to cleaning the house, taking care of the kids, attending to your husband or whatever. You are valuable with or without those things. I don't understand. So when you saw your husband doing things for himself, like you said, you got jealous. Tell me about that.
So when I would get jealous, I would be obviously doing something, some task like cleaning, and he'd be taking time for himself. And I I didn't know what to do. I had never built a habit where I was like, oh, if I'm feeling jealous, if I'm feeling frustrated that he's doing something and I'm not, why am I not? Why am I doing this thing? Why am I cleaning right now? Why am I
Yeah.
doing this? Why don't I go do something fun for myself too? If
Mm.
he doesn't need to do anything useful right now, why do I? So
Yeah. I
it was
love it. We are creating a revolution, Nicole. Go ahead.
it was a wake-up call for me.
Yeah.
And I realized that I used to give to my business, to my personal life, to my spouse, to everybody from
Mm.
a cup that was like not even half full, that was super low and barely running on fumes. And I was doing so many things
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't enjoying most of them, but I
Mm-hmm.
was doing them and I was busy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I choose now
Mm-hmm.
to fill myself up so then when my cup is overflowing with energy,
Yeah.
that's when I can give to other people. I give energy to people from my overflowing cup instead of from the last little
Yeah.
bit that's left in my cup.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of women, and I'm paraphrasing here, not all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like a lot of us feel like we have to give and give and give and give and give and give until our cups are almost empty. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, it's all on you.
Yeah. I like
So
what you say from the overflow. Don't give from what's within, but the extra, so that
yeah,
at least you are still filled. And I like the point when you said if he's not doing anything, what the hell are you doing? You know, why? And this is how we have been programmed. You see, from before childhood. Before we are born, the woman's supposed to be doing this. This is your value. This is your role. This is what you're supposed to be doing. To hell with it. To hell with it. We
yes,
To hell with it. You can say you heard it on between the lines. We are creating a revolution here. If you didn't, don't be mistaken. We are creating a revolution. Yeah, because it comes back to your self-worth. It comes back to the value you place on you, how valuable you are. You know, and it is not reliant on your husband, it's not reliant on the business, it's not attached to how much money you make, the car you drive, the house you're in. It doesn't matter. You are worthy, you are valuable. And it links back to being able to make that confident decision, because you are able to trust yourself because of that self-worth, to say, I know myself, I'm valuable, I believe in this decision, I have the information, I'm an intelligent human being, and so I whatever, this is the decision I'm making. I feel to stay home and not bathe for the entire day and have a glass of wine for the entire, but hey, that's the decision. When the
yeah,
kids come home and there's no food, hey, the husband can get food or he can cook. I'm just taking the day. I'm giving myself permission. That's my decision. Yeah.
yeah. I think you said something really important too, giving yourself permission
Mhm.
to do what's good for you. When you start adding on having a spouse and having a job and having kids and all these other commitments, then it's easy to give to all of that. But when are you putting yourself first? Because you're the only one who can.
Mhm.
Nobody else
Mhm.
is going to put you first.
For sure. For sure, I could tell you that. You know what just came to me when you said adding on all these things? You add on the husband, you add on the kids. It starts to become overwhelming, because as you go along in life, you keep adding on. You go to school, you add on a degree, you add on your master's, you add on the job, you add on, okay, having kids, a relationship, a husband, a family, a house to manage. You add on probably an elderly grandparents, whatever. You start adding on, and it becomes less and less of you. So is there a point? Because I'm sure people may be thinking this, because I'm thinking it. Where along the lines, or I don't even know how to phrase this. Where along the lines do you set boundaries, or do you start that from early, or what do you do to preserve yourself when you start adding on? Because I don't want people to think that don't get the spouse, don't get married, because it's going to start, taking up more of your time. How do you manage your time? Coming back to the same burnout, how do you manage all these things without it seeming as if, oh, Nicole is just going to focus only about herself. She has her elderly grandparents there and she doesn't want to come and stay with them 24/7. And then the husband needs her and the kids are crying in the corner and she's not running up and down to go to the PTA and the sports and the this and the that. And,
Yeah, so I believe that it's learning how to listen to yourself. So I found in my own experience, when I start to get grumpy about something and I'm like frustrated and I have a bad attitude and I don't want to deal with something and I'm just like putting stuff off, that's a sign to me that I have low energy and that I need to take time for myself.
yeah.
So I've learned.
Pull the brakes. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that is one of my signs that says, hey, I need time. And so if there's something that I'm feeling really like I have to go, I'm obligated to do something, or I'm in a place where I feel like I'm forced to do something, then I can feel really resentful. And that's another one of my triggers that's like hey, I should probably not do this commitment for like a week. Try stepping out of it and see if it gives me more energy or if I'm feeling better. So another one is when I feel overcommitted. It's really easy for me to overcommit and do way too many things. Yeah. I'm really good at it. And so I get to pay attention to when I'm like, I'm so exhausted. I'm surviving my week. Yeah. I'm using caffeine because I'm burning the candle at both ends, all this stuff. That's a way for me to say when I realize it. Sometimes I don't realize it super quickly, but when I do realize it, then I get to be like, whoa, something needs to change. Something needs to be different. I need to take time for myself. And normally what happens is that I have that emotion or feeling. I recognize it. And then I get to take some time for myself. And then I'll make a decision. I feel like we have to have energy and we have to love on ourselves before we can make that big decision. Should I move? Should I change careers? Should I marry this person? Should I have children? Whatever that big choice is. And there are other ones that we have all the time. I need to have energy myself in order to say, what is it that I want? I spent a lot of my time trying to do what I thought other people wanted me to do or that I should do. There's that should. And
there's that should.
It took me a while to realize that how I felt was just as valid, if not more so, than what I was being told I needed to do next in my life.
Here's what happened, Nicole. Being aware of your feelings. Being aware of your feelings, what's going on inside of you, the resentment, the anxiety, the frustration. They're all, like you said, triggers to tell you that something is going on. So you sit with it. And you try and figure out where is the cause? Where is the root? What is happening within me? But normally, when people feel resentment, they lash out. So for example, let's come back to your husband. You see him taking time for himself, because we know this is a typical thing. You're there cooking, cleaning, scrubbing, and ironing, and he is watching TV and having a beer. He's not saying, honey, let me help you. And you are watching him. Yes, Nicole, you are watching him just lazing around while you are sweating and killing out yourself. You are certainly more than resentful. You are damn angry. You're building up. You start to see images of killing him and burying him in the backyard. Yes. Yes, I'm telling you the truth. You start to think of all the wonderful ways you can murder him, right? right, right. And you start to see pictures in your mind, a movie in your mind of you just living it up, having a ball, not cleaning the house because he's no longer around to do those things because because he's triggering you. So all these things are happening within you. You're not sitting in the emotion and say, why am I feeling this way by my husband lying on the couch having a beer watching TV? You're not being mature about it in that way. You're not sitting with it. You are start conjuring up thoughts of murdering him. You actually may curse him out and say, can't you see that I need help here? Why don't you come and help me? What am I about? And
Oh yeah.
you are going to lash out at him. This is a
Mm-hmm.
typical way we respond or react,
Yep.
I should say, as opposed to, well, we say respond, react. Some people use it interchangeably, but it's not the same. We react because that trigger makes us angry and we see them as the target and we are going to hit the target. We are going to, as opposed to saying, this has triggered me. Why is it triggering me? Why am I feeling that I'm obligated to do this now? Is it because how he would think if I don't do it? I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm supposed to. Who told me that? Where is it written? Where is it written that I have to be doing this now? Why,
Exactly.
why do I feel my value is attached to cleaning the house at this point in time or at any damn time? Why do I feel, right? So
Yeah.
you're talking about sitting in the emotion, which is a different approach, which is a different approach to the murdering thoughts and the lashing up. I like the murdering thoughts. The murdering thoughts and the lashing up. Hey, you really feel good when you start to think of the movie of the murdering, Nicole. Admit it. We know it's true.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
it does. It,
Definitely had those thoughts before and been like,
of
what are you doing?
course.
How are you doing this? Why I'm working so hard.
Yeah,
Why aren't you working hard? Why
yeah,
don't you
yeah,
care about this?
yeah,
Why don't you help me clean? You're
yeah.
so lazy. All this stuff. I've thought all of that. Oh,
Oh yeah.
please hear me say I have thought all of that. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
they just calmly turn around and look at you and like, yeah, what's your problem?
Yeah.
Which gets you even angrier, and then you start getting more creative ideas of how to murder them. But
Yeah.
yeah, so why why is it now that you're saying sit in the emotions? That which is a better approach. Recognize what is triggering you and sit in the emotions, accept it, and try to spend some time just meditating. It might not be hours, it may be a few seconds where something, a light bulb goes off in your head. It's like, why do I need to do this now? Tell us.
Yeah, so you said several things that are really important. And one of them is working on meditating. I When I was in burnout, one of the biggest ways that I got out of it was using meditation, and I was very judgmental towards it in the beginning. I thought only certain people like hippies did it, and I didn't know anything about it. And I learned more, and meditation helped me shift and
Yeah.
identify when those emotions were coming up, because you're right, before I just feel out of control and I'd be
Mhm.
super angry and frustrated and I wouldn't know what to do. I definitely wasn't sitting and being like, why am I upset? What's going on? I wasn't doing that. And one of the reasons is because I hadn't worked with a coach who helped me learn how to identify what was going on for me. And another reason was that I wasn't meditating, right? So I wasn't giving my brain a chance. When you build certain neurons, so that you become reactive and you respond like that, meditation helps you become more reflective, so you can take a beat before you respond to something. And instead of just feeling like your emotions are all over the place and you're just in it and you're frustrated and angry,
Mhm.
you kind of get a minute to be like, or a second to be like, hey, whoa, I'm really angry right now.
Mhm.
What is going on for me? So
Mhm.
that was part coaching, part meditation, And then the third part is there's a time when you get to have a conversation with your partner that's really making you angry, or your colleague, or whoever it is, and say, okay, it's really important for me to have the house clean every week, but I'm getting the feeling that it's not so important for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find a common ground, like, what can we do? How can we make this work for both of us? What are you committed to doing? This is how I feel. I feel frustrated and angry when you won't help me and you're sitting on the couch drinking a beer watching football. So there's a time when you get to say, what are you committed to?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're like, I don't care if the house is clean, then you get to decide, how committed are you to cleaning the house, because it sounds like you're going to be doing it on your own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And your spouse isn't going to help. So you got to have that open, honest conversation about like, where are you at? If he wants the house clean, then it's like, you get to help.
Mm-hmm.
So when do we do it?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like? How can we break it up, or do it all at once, or whatever that is that you decide?
Or hire somebody to do it.
Yeah, hire someone to do it. If it's really
Hire
that big of a
someone.
deal,
Yes,
hire someone to do it.
Yeah, whether it's once every 2 weeks, so at least twice a month, and you can probably do a quick maintenance, or just nothing heavy in between those times. But generally, the heavy work, the heavy lifting is done by somebody else. Yeah.
And this is a really important distinction. I used to think that spending that money on like someone cleaning the house was like a waste of money.
Wow.
And that it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But now I get to see that if that serves my husband and my relationship, then that's actually a form of self-care.
Of course, because you get that extra time that you could probably go to the spa. You can do your reading while somebody else is cleaning. You can spend time with him. You can, or with the kids, or just in silence doing nothing.
It shifts that by realizing, what am I committed to? What are you committed to? And not making it right or wrong, but saying, how can we work through this together?
Yeah. And all of that is linked to the confident decision making, All what you're saying, all what we are sharing is coming back to that. Having that conversation with your spouse or significant other, or whoever you're with, or even with yourself. Have that even if you have nobody, have that conversation with yourself. Why do I need to be cleaning the house now? Why do I need to be cooking now? I could buy takeout. I could go out and have dinner. I don't need to clean the house. I don't need to wash the dishes, lock up the house and go. Yeah, so it's not a matter of an external person being involved in the picture. It could be you alone, and just the pressure that you put on yourself, and you're not giving yourself the permission to love you. Yeah, be confident in your decision making. Trust yourself, love yourself. It comes right back. Everything comes back to that, Nicole. Loving yourself, trusting yourself. Everything is, notice the word self is right in there. Trusting yourself, loving yourself, self-care. Yeah, everything comes back to that. I want to hop across to your website, Nicole. Let me see if I can grab a page here to be able to do that. Give me your website again.
It's myintuitioncoach.com.
Yes, I have it. Let me just share the screen here 1 second.
Perfect.
Yeah, and there you are with that grin. Always smiling. Yeah, you see, she looks the same, except the hair is kind of a little bit longer. Yeah. Or she switched it to the side. Yeah. So tell us what's going on your website. Is there anything here that I remember when I was looking at your website, you had a free class or something. Tell me, where do I find that again?
Yeah, so there's if you scroll down on the homepage where you're at, it gives you a little definition of what intuition coaching is and the principles of intuition coaching, and go down a little farther. And here's the opportunity. If you want to take a quiz to see, are you in burnout? Could you be possibly experiencing it. It's a super short quiz, and it'll show you, hey, there's a chance that you could be experiencing this, or no, you probably sound pretty good with your workforce, with your work environment.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to, you can take an online workshop with me. I'll actually be giving it live this week on Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
That's this one
And
here.
so that's where you would register. And it's a workshop where we go through the Love What You Do formula, and we talk about how you can start implementing things in your life to work through burnout. And one of the components, one of the steps in the Love What You Do formula is becoming a confident decision maker.
Okay.
And then the third one is if you're ready to take the next step and say, I want to see what it looks like to work with you, then we set up an appointment to have a conversation, and I learn more about where you're at and what your circumstances are, so I can see if I can help you see results. And then we have a conversation about what that looks like.
We want to look more like these matches, fresh and nice and red, not this burnout here. We want to look more like that. Yeah, and become a confident decision maker. So do you struggle with making decisions? So if people can continue to click on this to learn a bit more.
Yep. Yeah. And then these are some of the things that, so when I do my blogs, as you see here, I share my personal experience, and then at the end, I have a 30-minute challenge for someone who maybe is experiencing some of the same things. Yeah. And then I have some coaching questions so you can coach yourself through at the end of the blog. And it gives you a way to apply what I'm experiencing to your own life and work through it yourself, because I don't know what you're experiencing, so I can't tell people what to do with their own lives. I can only share what's going on for me.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have errand paralysis? Let's have a look at that one quickly. Errand paralysis. Is that like when you have procrastination in a way?
Yes.
The things that you know you need to do and you're not doing it. Yeah.
So I had a vision insurance, and I paid for it for like 8 months but I had it twice, and I just needed to cancel one, and it took me 8 months to do it. And I felt a lot of judgment about that, right? Because that's a waste of my time and money.
Yeah.
And in the end, I was in burnout, so I didn't have any energy to do it. So I made the choice when I could, and I went from there. So judging myself for that doesn't serve me. Yeah. So that's what this post is about, is that if you have errand paralysis and there's something you need to get done, you have to decide how important it is. And if you keep putting it off, it's not that important. Acknowledge it and move on. That's okay.
Yeah, that's what I say, because I recognize that I keep putting off things. And I'm like, Corinne, why are you putting off that? Why? Clearly it's not that important. So I just let it go. Because if it was, I would get to it immediately.
Yep.
Nice. And if persons need to contact you,
they can go to apply.
Yeah. Oh, and contact.
And there's a contact.
All right. So that's coming up. Beautiful. Nice. So connect with your virtual coach, which means that you can talk to her just like how we are talking now, online, through the phone. Technology is there, people. So yes, take note of all her information. So this has been awesome, Nicole. I mean, we went over time, but this has been awesome. This has been awesome. I thank you so much for helping us to become confident decision makers by trusting ourselves, loving ourselves, knowing our self-worth, that it is not dependent on external factors or people or circumstances, and make that to-do list, that to-do me list. I'm going to start it today. I'm going to start it today. The to-do me, not the to-do list. Let's not get it confused. Not the to-do list. Scrap the to-do list for once in your life. Just say today, March 18th, is my damn day. The to-do me list. Yeah. And see how many things you can come up with on the to-do me list and do it. And you can decide one day in the week that you have a to-do me list. Or every day you do a to-do list and do at least 2 things on that to-do list every day for yourself. Every day, because you are worth it. You are worth it. And it's amazing how your life will change as a result of you feeling good about yourself, being able, and it will feed into making those confident decisions because you're pouring into you. You're pouring into you. Any final words, Nicole?
I just want to say thank you so much. It's been lovely to talk to you today, Corrine. And I really enjoyed having this conversation and talking about what that looks like, and more than willing to have a conversation with anybody who wants to learn more about getting out of burnout or becoming a confident decision maker.
Yes, awesome. And I hope they contact you, and I will make sure that they contact you because they're all suffering from burnout and they don't even realize that they're suffering from burnout. Huh? Not because your hair isn't frazzled and look fried doesn't mean to say that you're not suffering from burnout. Okay, you might be looking all nice and dandy, but you're suffering from burnout and not able to make the right, or I should say, confident decisions. Thank you so much, Nicole Stanfield, for being on Between the Lines.
Thank you.